Now that we've gone over the basics of how we can access the single element from a list, let's look at how we can take slices from a list. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's first create a list called a list, because I'm going to use underscore a list equals, let's just go for 1, 6, 7, 7, bear, 5,700, and cheese. So it's kind of like a very strange shopping list. Anyway, so I'm going to just add some more, just so we have quite a lot of them. So let's go into how list indexing works. So we've already been over how we can access a single element from a list. So we just put a list, and then in square brackets we put the index number. So let's say we wanted to get the word bear, that would be index number 0, 1, 2, 3. So we put in number 3. Oops. There we go, and we get the word bear. Now, if we wanted to get a slice, let's say we wanted to take everything from bear to cheese, then what we'd use is in these square brackets, we'd then use colons. So if I put in, for example, 6, so what this is saying, let's just run it, we're saying go from index 3 and then take everything up to that's just before index 6. So index 6 is 8, so it's basically saying take all the elements between index 3 and up to index 6, but it doesn't actually take index 6. So let's go for another example. I want to access everything from the number 6 up to 708,080. So we'd want to go from index 1 all the way up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'd put number 8 here. Okay, so we want to take index 1 to 8. So just to remind you why. So the first number, that's the first number that we take, and then we take everything up to, but not including, the index number after the colon. So this should give us everything between 6 and 708,000. Oh, let's see what's happened here. So it hasn't actually gotten all of them. So it started at the right index. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I know why, because I need to rerun this list. There we go, that's better. Okay, so that's taken everything from the index 1 up to the index 7. So it goes up to, but doesn't include index 8. Now one other thing we can do is we can actually leave out one of the numbers. If we leave out the number, basically Python always understands that the first number before the colon, that's the beginning index. If we leave it blank, it just assumes we want it to go from the start. So it'll include from the start everything up to, but not including, the 8th index, which is number 11. And so it works the same way, the other way. So if I were to put in 4 and then leave the second one blank, it would basically take everything from index 4, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so everything from 5,700 all the way to the end. So it'll even include the last index there. So that's essentially the basics of list slicing. So using this syntax, so the name of the list, then square brackets, and then you have a colon that separates the starting index to the end index. Remember, it doesn't include that, it's just before that, and it will return a slice of your list. If we can leave either one of those blank, and if we leave it blank, then Python will just assume that we're saying go from the starting index. If we leave this blank, we're basically saying go to the end index. So essentially, if I were to run this, it would just return everything. So that's the basics of list slicing. I'm going to add one more thing into the mix now. Not only can you say that you want to go from a start index and an end index. So let's say we want to have index 1 to up to, but not including index 8. So just pause the video here and try and work out yourself what that's going to return. So if you've had a go at that, as you can see, we've gone from 6 all the way to 708,000. Now we can actually add one more colon, and this basically tells Python how many steps we want to take. So for example, if I put 2, then I'm saying only include the second occurrence. So skip out So if I run it, it'll make more sense to you. So it's saying essentially skip out every second one. So it's going for number 6, then skipping 77, and then bear, then skipping 5,700, and then cheese, skipping 8. So if I were to put in number 3, for example, this is taking 6, and then it skipped out these two, and it's gone 5,700, and it skipped out these two. So the third number basically says the steps you want it to take. How many do you want it to miss out, let's say. You can also use negative numbers here. So let's say, for example, I wanted just to take the whole entire list. So if I had a colon, left this blank, then obviously it would just leave the whole list. Because like we were saying before, Python just assumes that we want to go from the start and the end index if they're blank. If we add one more colon, and we just put the number 2, then it's just going to take every other one. So it's going to take the first, third, fifth, etc. So it's going to skip out every second one. We could go for every 4, and that'll just give us 1, and then skip out these 3, 5,700, skip out these 3 to give us 11. Now what's interesting is we can also put in negative numbers here. So this is just for the last number, and that's basically going to tell it to go in reverse. So we can actually get a reverse of the list, or we could get a reverse of a slice of the list. So we could say, going between, let's say, bear and, I don't know, 8, so that's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, my mistake, we just need to switch these around. Because we're reversing, we want to say the starting one needs to be the 8th index, and it goes up to, but doesn't include, the 4th index. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully that makes sense to you. The main thing to keep in mind here is the syntax. So with list slicing, you can access a slice of the list based on the indexes. So the first index you put before the colon is the starting index. If it's blank, then Python will assume you want to go from the beginning. Then the second number is the end index. It doesn't actually include the index. So it says go up to everything before. So go up from everything beginning at the third index up to but not including the 8th index. And then you can add a third colon that essentially says the number of steps you want to take. And so that's it for list slices. So have a go at this yourself. It's definitely worth getting used to having a play with this because it is a very useful tool to have. So have a go at it, and I'll see you in the next lecture.